Welcome to your 4 to 5 and happy Friday. I'm Stacey Spivey here with Eric Chilton as we continue to practice social distancing. We love to interact with you on this newscast, so you can chat with us live right now on Facebook or on YouTube. We love to interact with you guys and chat back about different social conversations and topics, or just chat about life with you. So go ahead and join in on the conversation. And now taking a look at your top stories for today. The North Carolina Department of Commerce is working to resolve pending unemployment claims. A new team will focus on sorting through those claims from the oldest date of filing and most complicated. Now, since May 27th, the department has resolved up to 24,000 claims. Over 8,000 of those claims were resolved in last week alone. But they say that 45,000 state unemployment claims are still pending. The department created this new online tool, letting people track their claims without having to ever speak to a representative, and you can find that tool on your dashboard. Winston-Salem Forsyth County athletic teams can start workouts once again in July. School officials say teams allowed on school grounds, and they'll be allowed starting July 6th. Summer workouts are allowed for fall sports only, and school leaders are currently working to stock schools with needed supplies and protective equipment to keep all students and faculty safe. And student athletes with physical exams on or after March 1st get a 1-year extension through the upcoming school year. Student participation in summer activities is voluntary and cannot be required to be able to go and practice. Students will not be punished for any family vacations planned for July 20th through the 26th, which was originally scheduled as dead period for NCHSAA.
Today is North Carolina's highest day of new cases since the pandemic started.
Governor Roy Cooper says coronavirus continues spreading throughout our state. Health officials noticing an increase in cases and hospitalizations. And they're now working with hospitals to track those cases, specifically in the ICU. According to the health secretary, Dr. Mandy Cohen, testing tripled in the last month from 5,000 tests per day to 15,000 on average. 21,000 tests were completed on Thursday in North Carolina's largest testing day to date.
So 2 Triad counties are actually catching the attention of some federal health officials today. This is because virus case numbers, they've been going up here. So Dr. Deborah Birx expressed concern over Forsyth and Alamance counties, along with several other North Carolina counties. Cohen informed Birx that the counties were already on the state's radar. The public health director, Joshua Swift, said that health officials are working on how to get more tests out to areas that have limited access to testing. Dr. Cohen says it doesn't mean the counties did anything wrong. It just means that these are areas that are at high risk right now. Well, as several states see an uptick in coronavirus numbers during phases of reopening, researchers are looking to see if blood can actually help prevent coronavirus. Johns Hopkins University scientists launched a nationwide study on healthcare workers, family members exposed to the virus, and nursing home residents. 150 volunteers will be randomly assigned to either plasma from coronavirus plasma. Coronavirus blood plasma does contain coronavirus antibodies. If it works, survivor plasma could be used as a substitute until a vaccine is approved.
And now let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup. 4 years ago today, 49 people were killed and 53 injured at the Pulse nightclub shooting in Orlando, Florida. That shooting was the nation's second deadliest mass shooting in history. Due to the pandemic, Pulse Interim Memorial has been closed to the public, and the memorial will be shown on the Pulse Foundation's Facebook page. Multiple stores say they will stop locking up beauty products for Black women and other women of color. Walgreens and CVS joining Walmart in this movement. Experts say locking up items catering to Black customers in Black neighborhoods needs to be abolished. And according to Walmart, the company first locked up products to prevent theft. Well, ABC's The Bachelor announced their newest bachelor is a Black man from Raleigh. Matt James is a 28-year-old estate broker and community organizer who graduated from Wake Forest University. James originally was cast as a contender on The Bachelorette during Claire Crawley's season. He now lives in New York City, and his season of The Bachelor will be the show's 25th season, and it will air next year. Well, you've heard of free libraries, but what about free pet pantries? Gate City Pet Project stocked free pet pantries in Glenwood with cat and dog food for residents. Those pantries are courtesy Guilford County Animal Services and helps anyone in need to keep pets fed. If you need help stocking free food pantries in your neighborhood, you can contact the Guilford County Animal Services.
So the Charlotte division of the FBI, they're asking for the public's help in identifying a person who threw a firework-type mortar at police officers. Now, this happened in uptown Charlotte. That was Saturday, May the 30th. The mortar exploded. It hit an 11-year veteran of the police department. The officer's clothing did catch fire. He suffered second-degree burns and was hit by shrapnel, which caused for 2 days. If you have any information, they're asking you to call the FBI Charlotte Division or your local FBI office.
Well, continuing coverage, Jacksonville, Florida has been selected to host the Republican National Convention. The city hosting President Trump's nomination celebration, and for the first time in history, the convention will be split between two cities. Charlotte will host the business parts of the convention, while Jacksonville will host the remainder. Now, this is Jacksonville's first time hosting a national convention. And ahead of August convention, the president is holding in-person campaign rallies once again. If you want to go, you need to sign a coronavirus waiver. We want to hear from you. Would you sign a coronavirus waiver to go to a mass gathering? You can answer now on our WFMY News 2 app or WFMY.com/vote now. You can also weigh in right here on our Facebook stream. So the first rally is next Friday in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and people are being asked to sign that waiver I just mentioned, releasing campaigns from any risk of exposure to coronavirus. WFMY News 2's Ben Briscoe asked if you'd sign the waiver, so let's see what some of you had to say. F. Lee Cornelison says, yes, of course, hiding from a virus is impossible. The sooner it moves through the populace, the sooner it will be gone. Brian weighing in, I don't do political rallies even without a virus going around. I do hope everyone is safe and takes time to listen. And Dawn says hair and nail salons make people sign waivers, so what's the difference? And Heather adds in, I mean, just sign the waiver if you want to go. You already take the risk if you go out shopping, eat at a restaurant, go to the protest, or what have you. You going to sue all these places? No, just sign the waiver and go on with your life. So we asked, would you sign a coronavirus waiver to attend a mass gathering? Right now, 85% of you are voting no, while 15% say yes. So just keep voting, and we'll go over these results again coming up on WFMY News 2 at 5.
Hey, forecast for today, not too bad out there, 78 to about 84 for a range from Greensboro over to High Point. We have talked about dry air moving in, and that's the case. Tonight and tomorrow, we drop down to about 62 tonight. We'll see clear skies tomorrow. I think it's partly sunny. Still lower humidity. It might be a smidge more humid tomorrow than today, but those high temperatures are comfortable around 82 degrees. Look at this satellite and radar combination. This is what you want to see heading into a weekend for sure. The front is moved on to the east. In fact, the heavier thunderstorm activity resides around the Wilmington area. Out of here, drier air moves into place. So when you look at this from a long range perspective, we do see a dip in temperatures, but not in the short term. Low 80s through your weekend. That would be through Saturday and Sunday. Best rain chance in the afternoon and evening, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, with highs only around 70 toward the beginning of next week.
And we're obviously having a little bit of technical difficulty with Eric's shot, so we'll give you the forecast coming up as well. Well, North Carolina Zoo announced that they're officially reopening on Monday. You'll have to buy tickets in advance to go, and social distancing will be enforced. Zoo officials say they want to protect their guests and staff, but allow people to enjoy the zoo experience.
What we do here is we connect people to nature and to the animals, and with the amazing, we're here in front of the gorilla habitat right now. We want to share that again with the people, and we've missed having people here at the zoo.
Only 2,000 are allowed inside the zoo at a time. The playground, water fountain, and all smart carts will be closed. Keep watching and chatting with us. We'll be right back with more of 4 to 5.
Mic check 1 2 3 4 5. Hello, hello. 6 7 8 9 10 and check and check and check. Yep.
Welcome back. Well, as you may know, Miss USA Chesley Christ is a North Carolina native and actually went to school at Wake Forest. With her platform, she continues to fight racial inequality. And today I had a candid talk with her about her experiences with racism and how she feels about what's happening in our country.
I would hope that people in the Triad just take this time to learn more about systemic racism, what it is, and how it affects especially Black communities, even in the Triad. I remember when I was in high school, somebody said, "You're super pretty for a Black girl." And I think they meant that as a compliment and didn't understand why that comment is so racist and why it is so incredibly inappropriate. I remember when I was at Wake Forest, I won the 1L trial bar competition. It's a competition for first-year law students at Wake Forest. And I remember the year after a student saying that I'd won, they thought that I'd won the competition because the judge was Black and they just wanted a Black person to win. And so it's comments like that that are incredibly racist, that assume that Black people aren't capable of the accomplishments that we've made, that just bring us back, that don't push forward progress.
How does that feel? And maybe share those emotions so people kind of get what it's like.
I think it's incredibly hurtful. And I think it plays into what people talk about, the concept of just not believing that you're actually worthy of. Imposter syndrome is really the term that people have labeled it.
What has it bbeen like to see all these horrible things happen?
I think it's enraging. I've spent some time, posting on social media on my Instagram story talking about how angry I am. But it is important as well on the flip side to use that anger and that passion for good. So in addition to just being angry and posting resources on social media, I spent time protesting. I've donated to the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, to the Equal Justice Initiative. I've encouraged people to register to vote so that they can make change in their own communities. I've signed petitions. And so I hope that other people, if you're feeling like I've been feeling, if you feel angry, you turn that anger and that passion into something good, something that can actually realize change.
Well, in the next half hour, you can hear her thoughts on moving forward and change in both our country and her life. We'll be right back.
Mic check. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Mic check, mic check, mic check.
Well, the coronavirus paused basketball seasons all across the country, but about a week ago, the G League, the NBA G League, canceled the rest of its season. That means we won't see our Greensboro Swarm anymore till next season. So WFMY News 2's Amanda Ferguson catches up with a few players and finds out how this ending affects them. Amanda?
The Greensboro Swarm is all about developing players so that they can move up to the NBA and eventually play for the Charlotte Hornets. But what happens when you make it to Charlotte, but you don't get much time to play because of something out of your control? Well, that's what a lot of players are going through right now. Some players like Kobe Simmons. He spent most of his season playing for the Swarm and then moved up to the Hornets. He finishes the season on their roster, but he didn't get much of a chance to play with those guys. We talk about the positives and the negatives of the coronavirus ending the season early.
At the beginning, I think it was just good for everybody to come back, spend time with family. We don't really get that time especially in the middle of the season. So coming back home and spending time with family, and then I think it's also been good just continue to stay in contact with the team. With the Hornets, I wanted to get out there and compete with those guys for a couple games, night in, night out. But I know it'll happen. It'll happen eventually. But that's been the tough part, getting out there. And I know I watched a couple games being on the bench, but just kind of getting out there and competing with those guys has definitely been the toughest part.
The Swarm had 5 games left on their schedule that they won't get to play. Now, as for the Charlotte Hornets, the NBA is going to pick back up at the end of July, but the Hornets, they're not going to be playing in that restart.
All right, let's talk some more sports news then, because now we're talking about football. NCAA Football Oversight Committee finalized a proposal allowing an extended preseason. Now, this proposal would extend the preseason by 2 weeks so teams can hold walkthroughs. Teams can hold about 6 hours of unpadded walkthroughs per week while requiring 2 days off for players. There's an additional 2 weeks. The additional 2 weeks, rather, would be limited to 20 hours per week and can start 14 days before the normal preseason. The Division I Council is now going over that proposal. They say they'll make a decision by Wednesday of next week.
Nike officially is recognizing Juneteenth as a paid holiday. June 19th holiday celebrates when the last enslaved people were told about the Emancipation Proclamation. President Abraham Lincoln signed the proclamation in January 1863, but it wasn't until 2 years later that African Americans in Texas were told they were free. Company CEOs say recognizing this holiday is a way to honor Black history and culture. And we'll be right back with more of your 4 to 5 coming up after this break.
when people leave their home area to go hone their skills, maybe go to college and then get their career, and then years later they get to come back and do it for the home crowd, so to speak. It's always nice to see that and see people kind of show what they can do. Well, Chelsea Tipton is a symphony conductor who grew up in Greensboro, now lives in Texas. But this December, he's coming home to conduct the Greensboro Symphony with, get this, Sting singing for the symphony. Pretty cool. I caught up with Chelsea about the experience this morning.
Chelsea, man, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule and for wearing the same shirt, apparently, as me.
Great minds think alike, you know?
We saw each other in full disclosure here and went, what just happened? So you're going to be conducting the Greensboro Symphony when Sting comes to town in December. This is pretty cool, but you're from Greensboro. I didn't find that out until recently. Talk a little bit about your history here.
That's right. I grew up here in Greensboro. My parents moved here when I was in 4th grade. So I went to Mendenhall Junior High School, Page High School, attended the Greensboro Symphony all the time, played in the Greensboro Youth Orchestra. When people ask me where is my hometown, I just tell them it's Greensboro. It's where I got my start in music. I started taking clarinet lessons at UNCG. From there, I was kind of a band nerd, then I left for college, and I come down here about 3 or 4 times a year to visit with my mom. So I'm super excited to have a chance to work with the Greensboro Symphony. This will be my first time working with them in the upcoming concert with Sting.
All right, so speaking of that, we have to talk about Sting. That's an icon,
Yeah.
and you get to work with him. What has that been like, and what is he like?
My main role was to rehearse and prepare the orchestras for the concerts, but I did have a chance to do several concerts with him over in Spain, and he was delightful to work with, kind of on the quiet side, but he was very supportive and very protective of his musicians. I really wanted the best. And the thing I learned from him is that he had a fearlessness to explore different types of music.
To be able to do all this and to come back to your home, that must be pretty cool. What are you thinking about in December when you're able to come back here and do this in front of your hometown?
So the Greensboro Symphony has a long tradition of making great music, and I've always wanted to have a chance to conduct them. When I was in high school, I would usher for the concerts. My clarinet teacher played in the Greensboro Symphony, so I came to the symphony concerts all the time. And so to have this chance to work with them, but it's just going to be a great concert for the community.
Well, welcome home, Chelsea. We're glad you're here for a while. We'll see you again in December. And hey, tomorrow, let's wear blue shirts. What do you say?
Hey, you're on. I got it.
He is a great guy. I have to tell you, there was a super connection with this guy, Stacey. He's down to earth. He's fun. He's smart. You got to come see this in December. I believe it's still at the Tanger Center for now. Of course, we'll be watching to make sure there are no postponements or cancellations. But Sting in Greensboro, downtown, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is really cool. I think it's so funny how y'all were twinning today. But we really got to interview some incredible people. You know, you were able to talk to him, and I got to talk to Miss USA. So it's our lucky day, isn't it?
Not bad for a Friday, huh? Pretty
Yeah.
good. That's the way you kick off the weekend right there.
Well, how about the weather?
Also, yeah, I was going to say the forecast heading into the weekend is absolutely perfect too. Yeah, Chelsea could conduct the symphony of sunshine we had today because it was beautiful out there. We're looking at overnight lows tonight at 62. By the way, we're not going to see thunderstorm. All clear with that. Tomorrow, all sunshine, low humidity again, probably upper 70s to low 80s by midday and then low 80s for the highs. We're expecting around 82 degrees. Now, when you look at the big picture, the satellite and radar combination, yeah, you can tell where the front is, can't you? It's right along the coastal section from Hatteras through Wilmington, the Grand Strand, and down to Charleston. They're seeing rain, but the Piedmont region of North Carolina pretty clear. Dry air in place for the next couple of days. What does all that mean? Well, it means as we head into your weekend that we'll hold in the low 80s. The rain chance for afternoon and evening comes back Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. That's a 50 to 60% chance. Not a washout, but it will be cooler. Highs only around 69 to 70 for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We'll start to dry out Thursday and warm up to 74. And by Friday next week, partly cloudy and 80 degrees. Enjoy the weekend while you can.
Mic check. Hey guys, mic check. Happy Friday. Is the shot good? Is it crooked? It seems straight. It's tilted a teeny bit that way, but are we good?
That looks fine to me.
Okay.
Hey, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together.
Welcome back to your 4 to 5 on this Friday afternoon. I'm Stacey Spivey here with Eric Chilton as he is working from home practicing social distancing. This is an interactive newscast where we love to chat with you guys about different topics, whether they're social conversations or things that are just happening in our country or right here in the Triad. So feel free to chime in, weigh in with what you think about certain things right here on Facebook and YouTube Live. We'll be sure to chat back. Well, there's been a big spotlight on the sport of NASCAR recently, most noticeably driver Bubba Wallace and the car he showed off this past weekend. He has become a big advocate in the Black Lives Matter movement. And Luke, he addressed more of that earlier today, right?
Yeah, Stacey, it's been quite a week for Bubba Wallace on and off the track, from managing the races themselves to sharing his perspective on social inequality seen throughout this country. It's been quite busy, to say the least, and he took a moment to address some of that earlier today on a Zoom call with the media. Now, Bubba Wallace is the only black driver within the sport of NASCAR and told us it's important he shares his perspective on these issues and the Black Lives Matter movement itself. You can see he made a statement with that paint scheme from this past weekend at Martinsville, and he hopes it's a stepping block to helping create more change.
43 of Richard Petty. And I'm learning how to manage that along with the racing side of things. So on track things, I have to manage that as well as manage what's going on off the track. And I would say off the track is a lot more busy, a lot more hectic. Thankful for no practice or the 3-day shows that we're used to, because I'd be wiped out. It's good to kind of just stay focused on this throughout the week, but you know, you definitely got to do a quick shift, a mind shift going into the race. So it's challenging, but I'm learning every step of the way.
And that's all we can do, right? Take it one step at a time and be open to learning and providing change or creating change throughout the country. We will hear much more from Bubba Wallace coming your way later tonight right here on WFMY News 2 at 11. Hope to see you then.
Well, earlier this week, NASCAR announced that they will implement a Confederate flag ban from races and their properties. This upset a lot of the fans, and it led some people to say they didn't know what the Confederate flag stood for. Let's connect the dots behind that flag's history.
As protests continue against racial inequality in America, a controversial symbol is getting new scrutiny: the Confederate flag. And it turns out the history of this divisive emblem isn't as straightforward as it seems. Let's connect the dots. First up, The Confederate flag isn't actually the Confederate flag. It was the battle flag of General Robert E. Lee and his Army of Northern Virginia. The Confederacy actually had 3 different flags during its short existence, and none was the stars and bars we think of today. For decades after the Civil War, it was really only flown by Confederate veteran groups during parades. The Confederate flag we know of today didn't take on additional significance until the 1940s. It was adopted as a symbol of the Dixiecrat Party, a group founded to oppose President Truman's desegregation of the Army. The head of the party, Strom Thurmond, said their platform was, quote, to stand for the segregation of the races. As the fight over segregation continued, some southern states like Georgia started incorporating the Confederate flag into their own state flag designs. And as civil rights protests raged in the 60s, South Carolina decided to fly the Confederate flag over the State House. But in recent years, support for it has fallen among mainstream politicians. Now, only Mississippi uses it as part of its state flag, and calls to get that changed have gotten louder in recent days.
Well, in the last half hour of the show, I shared part of my candid talk with Miss USA Chesley Christ about racism and police brutality. I also asked her about change in our country and how her life will be changed once she passes on her crown to the next Miss USA.
Do you think that there is change happening in our country for the better?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there definitely is change. I've been to a couple of protests here in New York City, and what I've been surprised to see is how many white people and non-Black people have been out at the protest. I do think that we're seeing progress. We're seeing not only white people fighting for equality alongside Black people, you're seeing companies commit real action and real dollars to making that change too.
So what is next for you for when, this is over?
So I've been doing some work with Extra TV as an entertainment news correspondent. So I hope to continue working with them. I love the team that I work with. I've been working mainly out of New York City, but I've been able to interview so many different people. We were able to do segments during the Oscars this year. I interviewed Oprah, Tom Hanks, Matthew McConaughey, Lizzo, Zendaya, so many really cool people, and I have absolutely loved it. So I hope to continue doing that.
Oprah and Lizzo,
yeah,
2 of the top people that I love. That's so cool.
Exactly. Like after I interviewed Oprah, I almost wanted to ask her for tips after. Like, was that okay? What did you think?
And you can see that full interview online. Now let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup. President Donald Trump is pushing Seattle, Washington's mayor to reclaim part of the neighborhood taken over by protesters as a, quote, cop-free zone. Police abandoned local precincts on Monday after several nights of violence. Protesters are calling area Capitol Hill an autonomous zone. Protesters say they'll stay where they are until demands are met, including defunding police and racial equality. Some reports claim armed people patrol streets in absence of police, and police chief there in Seattle says there are conversations about getting officers into the area safely, but there is no plan yet in place. The Trump administration is working on an executive order to create a standard for police use of force. The president says the nation has to work as a unit to confront bigotry and prejudice. Also reminding people not all cops are bad. The administration is also working on economic development for minority communities, fighting healthcare inequalities, and improving school choices for kids. President Donald Trump says the best way to end violent protests is to dominate streets with compassion. Pace of the Triad honored employees with a parade. The Healthcare Heroes Parade gave employers a chance to show their appreciation for staff. PACE offers medical care and other services for the elderly community. And during the coronavirus pandemic, PACE of the Triad has made changes to keep current participants safe from the virus, while also accepting new participants. Well, if you didn't get a chance to ride on a Lime scooter before the pandemic started, now is your chance. Lime scooters returning to Greensboro. 100 of them will be available, and Lime first got its start in Greensboro back in 2017, but the company is now putting safety expectations in place to protect riders. So when scooters return to the warehouse, they'll be disinfected, and the company also suggests wearing gloves and washing your hands before and after riding.
Well, we're looking at the satellite radar combination, and the good news, There's not a lot to see. That means we are clear, and most of that shower activity is pushed onto the coastal sections. That is a big stretch of showers that we're seeing, though. It runs really from just to the east of Norfolk out over the ocean there down to Hatteras, Wilmington, and all the way through Myrtle Beach and the Grand Strand and Charleston. But it is drifting to the east and to the north at a fairly slow rate of speed. It'll linger for a little bit, but for us, it's dry air. Good conditions, it looks like, for us over the next couple of days. Now, by Sunday, we think the rain chance may slip back in. Here's a look at your weekend in a snapshot. 82 for the high tomorrow, sunshine, low humidity. Sunny to partly cloudy. Sunday, some clouds will build in the late day period. It'll be very summer-like with that high of 81, a little bit cooler than summer temperatures, but the late day shower chances, it's a 50-50 shot of that for Sunday. We'll hold that about 50 to 60% chance going into Monday and Tuesday, drop it to a 40% Wednesday, but we get cooler then with highs only around 70. We're back to 74 to 80 degrees for Thursday and Friday and gradual clearing.
Well, this right here is the act of saving. You might put money in a jar in the house. You might direct deposit money in your bank account.
Yeah, either way it's saving, right? But according to Statistica.com, nearly 70% of Americans have less than $1,000 stashed away. And at times like this, you probably need some savings, and you are certainly not alone. By law, cities, towns, counties, and other municipalities need to keep a reserve, a rainy day fund, if you will. The state treasurer keeps watch to make sure they have at least 8% of their needed revenue. But due to COVID-19, some cities and counties, they're in trouble.
You know, the rating agencies, which are the ones that give these counties and cities their credit score, so to speak, it'd be equivalent to a sanitation grade for a restaurant. The rating agencies are wanting to make sure that the counties and the cities and the state of North Carolina itself is watching all the pennies and paper clips, saving money anywhere that it can, so that if it does need to dip into reserves, it has a plan for paying it back. Because once you dip into reserves, it's spent, and it needs to be ultimately replenished.
So coming up tonight at 5 o'clock, we're going to reveal where the city of Greensboro and Guilford County stand in their reserve funds and why they have the totals that they do. And today, it's Friday. We're taking a look at what brings joy to you. It is a way for you to see the good that's happening, join in with your own stories, and also see how you can fit in to make your community better. Don't miss it.
Well, hey there, and welcome back to another installment of News 2 Science Geeks, where every week we're showing you some cool science experiments. Some of them have to do with weather, and then some of them not so much, like the one I'm going to show you today. Doctors and scientists have been urging us for weeks now to wash our hands really good with soap and water to help kill the coronavirus germs, but can't you just rinse your hands off in warm water and call it good? No, not really. You actually do need the soap. But why is soap such a crucial part of that? So this experiment is going to show you that. All of this that you need, you probably already have in your home. We've got a glass of just regular milk, a glass of tap water, and then a little cup of just regular dish or hand detergent that you use in the sink, just a regular plate, and I've also got 4 different colors of food coloring as well. So what we're going to do, we're first going to take the glass of milk and we're just going to pour it in the plate, just enough to kind of cover the base and the bottom of the plate. And then what we'll do is we'll take the different food colors and we're going to make 4 different little quadrants in the plate. So we'll start with green, and you do want to spread these out a little bit just for the effect of the experiment. We're using the colors to represent germs that might be on your hands. Of course, some germs you can see, and some germs you can't. So what this plate of milk is representing is your hands. Of course, the colors are representing the germs on your hands. So let's first try it out as if we were to just wash our hands in some regular old tap water, some regular old warm tap water. So we're just going to dip our Q-tip or our hands in some water, and then watch as I stick the Q-tip into the plate of milk in the middle. Not much is really happening, is it? You don't really see a reaction happening. And that is basically what happens when you wash your hands in water. Now, on the contrary, let's take another Q-tip and we'll just kind of dip it in our regular old hand soap. We'll cover it up pretty good, kind of signaling that you're lathering your hands up with the soap. And now watch what happens when we stick our Q-tip in the milk or our hands in the soap. You're going to watch a reaction, and the colors spread away from the center where that soap is. So what's happening? What's the science behind this? Well, actually what happens is when you stick the soap into the milk, to the top of the milk, it actually breaks the surface tension. The soap and the fat in the milk is actually bonding together. So what happens when you wash your hands in just regular old water, it doesn't really remove any of those germs. So what happens is, when you use soap to wash your hands, the soap and the germs kind of link up together. And then when you wash your hands in the water ends up not only washing the soap off, but it also washes off those germs that have linked up with the soap. It washes it all away from your hands. And that's why you have to use soap to wash your hands. So hopefully you learned a little bit. Hopefully this is something you can try at home. And if you do, send us a video. Let us know how it worked for you. In the meantime, stay healthy, stay safe.
So if you've been watching the 4 to 5 any length of time, you know that every week I like to pit two of our staffers against each other in a battle of wits with trivia. Today's game show, this battle features two early risers, Tracy McCain and Megan Malaris. I used to be one of those too. I gave them a topic that we all know too well. Take a look.
Very good. We're all excited. Megan, Tracy. Okay. Trivia battle today, guys, and because I'm a former GMSer and I understand this, today's topic, all these questions are yes or no or true or false, all about sleep.
Oh, great.
A dolphin is the only mammal that willingly delays sleep. True or false?
True.
False. Believe it or not, man is the only mammal that willingly delays sleep. Animals are smart. We're stupid. All right, so this one's for Meg. True or false here, Meg? The higher the altitude is, the greater your sleep deprivation.
True.
True is correct. Very good, very good. Yes, and matter of fact, they say that it begins at an altitude of 13,200 feet or more depleted oxygen, they say. Married people have less insomnia. True or false?
Married people with children or just married people?
Married people
Good
in
point.
general have less insomnia.
I'm going to say true.
True is correct, and she ties the score. The audience is very excited. The human body naturally feels tired at 2 a.m. and 2 p.m. True or false?
I don't know. I'm up at 2 a.m. with the baby, so what do I know at this point? I'm going to say false.
False is not correct. Our score stays exactly where it is.
Yes.
I would say that's false.
I'm going to say by snoring, true.
I would say false because I would imagine it's probably more.
Okay, last question for the tie.
Okay.
This one goes to Tracy. If you're sleep deprived, you eat more. True or false?
True.
True is correct. Very good. Tracy McCain coming through in the clutch. We end up all tied up at 3 apiece. You guys see, this is what happens with you, is that both of you care about each other so much, because I know, I worked with you for years and years, that you just can't stand one of you to win. So a tie, 3-3, we'll take it. Here, everybody do the dance. This is the quiz show dance.
I love that dance
You're next.
at the end.
You're next, Spivey.
Oh no.
You are next.
Well,
Yes,
if my challenge
we're gonna
had to
pit you
do
against
with
someone.
Okay, well if my challenge had to do something with sleep, I think I would win because I'm the sleep queen. I sleep
You
more
do.
than any other person probably that you've ever met. You can ask my husband.
I remember we had this discussion once, and you told me the number of hours you get. I don't think I've had that since I was a newborn. It's crazy.
Well, I'm sure my time will
Crazy.
come in the future whenever we decide to have children. I know I will not get sleep, so I'm going to enjoy it while I
It's gonna
can.
be tough. All right, here's what I'm going to do. The next, I'm off next week, but the week after that, I'm going to let you pick your own opponent. Okay? It can be your husband. It can be anybody. Okay.
Okay,
So think
I'm
about
coming
that.
for you. We'll see.
All right. That's right. You can't do me. All right, here's what's going on. Let's take a look at our forecast and the planning forecast for your Saturday. Not bad. Couple of clouds maybe in the morning and maybe a couple puffy ones in the afternoon, but overall it's not bad. 62 for the low tonight, 80 by midday. I think we'll top out around 82 degrees. You look at the satellite radar and you see why. The front has moved on to the coast. Now, I will tell you this. It's going to stall around the coastal sections for a little bit. So some folks who were traveling to the beach, not happy about that. But dry air in place across central North Carolina. Now, this front, we think by Sunday, it does meander around a little bit and probably better chances in the South Carolina coastline. But a lot of folks are going to the beach. So here's what we see for Myrtle Beach Saturday, Sunday. It's mid to upper 70s, but the rain chances are about 60 to 80% for those 2 days. 60% for Wrightsville Beach. Again, a little bit cooler coast side than what we'll see here. And even in Emerald Isle, you look for temperatures around 77 and 76 with a good chance of rain. But next week, the beaches look fine if you're heading that way.
Well, we all want to honor our seniors this year since their graduations have been so greatly affected by the pandemic. So that's why we do our senior shout-outs every day. And here are some of the graduates that we're featuring today. This is Colby Warren. He graduates from Eastern Alamance High School. His parents say they are very excited about his future and wrote to us saying, "We are so proud of you, Colby. Love Mom, Dad, and Kenley." Congrats to him. And Andrew Albertson graduated from Rockingham County High School. He has been a member of the marching band all 4 years. He plans to attend Rockingham Community College in the fall. Good luck to Andrew. And Abby Williamson graduated from Rockingham County Senior High School. She has a passion for dance. She has been dancing since she was just 3 years old and is her dance team's captain. She has also been a football cheerleader all 4 years of high school and varsity cheer captain her senior year. Abby is also a member of National Honor Society, Beta Club, National Technical Honor Society, and Students of Promise. After graduation, she'll be attending High Point University to pursue a career in criminal justice. Congrats to all 3 seniors. Now, if you want to share your senior shout outs with us, you can find this submission form on our website. Just submit those photos of your senior, but not professional ones, please. Add in their name and their school, and then you can also include a personal message with your shout out. We'll be back with more after this break.
Hey, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie.
Hi. Mic check 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9.
So yellow wee has been replaced with green wee.
Hello, 1 2 3 4. Ignore that loud whirring sound. The air conditioner will be turned off before news.
Hi, mic check 1 2 3 1 2 3.
After vandalism 2 weeks ago. Well, this is a piece of decorated plywood that once covered Gate City Candy Company. The owner says it was time to take it down.